Hello and welcome back to the channel. And today talking about this concept again. Hopefully, this my thoughts are going to make perfect sense to you. You can kind of understand. Some people will have a better sense of this situation, the issue that's here. So let's see. For Batman fans, now I grew up being a Superman fan, being a fan of Hulk and Thor, somewhat, and sort of things like that. Less Batman, less Spider Man. Now my brother, my older brother, big fan of both of those characters and others. He's huge, very knowledgeable at comics and all that. But um, uh, being a fan of Batman, and I have another friend fan of Batman, and others, many others that just love Batman, and I don't have a problem with Batman. I like Batman. I enjoy most of the movies, um, but this is uh, basically the um, this is kind of the point of view that is a point of view. Is that really what I'm looking for? Um, this I want you to look at this from that point of view. If you're a Batman fan, all right, Batman fans should be concerned. I'm going to go to these websites. First of all, there's a great article that's here. This is on Deviant Art. Stevens Stitches about, it says PSA, James Gunn hates Batman. And he goes on to talk about this, quite in depth and a lot of problems and stuff like that. I'm not going to dwell on this uh, and 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 go into a lot of details. But going over to this, we'll start here. James Gunn. This is a tweet from many years ago. It says at Sean. I don't know who that is. Uh, but he says, Keaton did have a ridiculous voice. He's talking about not liking the Batman 1989 movie, right? And I've got this other website up, www.1989batman.com. And it says here, a site dedicated to the Batman film and its sequel, Batman Returns. Here you'll find loads of content related to the movies, old magazine articles, video segments, etc. Well, anyway, it's already been stated by a lot of people how James Gunn has said it in the past. I would assume still believes it and stuff. But he says that Batman from 1989 was not a good movie. Lots of bad things about it. Well, here's a quote you can see just real quick. Out of 107 reviews from all around the country, we got 105 raves, which isn't bad. So that's just an interesting quote. I'm not sure. Somewhere in this article you can go and read the entire thing. You can see this Batman 2 sequel, a little bit of an interview, and then you can also look at whatever else is here on on the on the site. Okay, so I haven't been able to dive into it or anything, but that's generally the consensus is that Batman 1989 was quite enjoyed. Very good movie. The soundtrack is the score I'll say is iconic. The people that enjoy the soundtrack, which is I'm pretty sure it's all Prince. Uh, the people that enjoy that really enjoy that, and it's just a strange thing to hear a filmmaker, but this is of course years ago, saying that it was terrible, that it was bad. Michael Keaton had a ridiculous voice. He didn't. In fact, he. You go read the article from the other website. But keeping on. That said, I'd rather put up with a ridiculous voice than with horrible action sequences and acting barely worthy of the Batman TV show. So he's mocking the action sequences. And B, I have no idea how you can think that uh, the Burton Batman has more similarities with Moore or Miller's Batman and Joker than Nolan's does. I'm not sure what the context is with that. It doesn't really matter to me very much, that part, because I'm not necessarily seeing those things in either one. So it's neither here nor there, I think. And then he says, and listen, I have problems with both of Nolan's films. I don't think either one is classic, and I don't even really think Batman Begins is good. So apparently, this came out after The Dark Knight. And there are other quotes saying that he thinks that probably Bale is the best Batman. Now, this was from, 6 years ago or more. I think that was posted a picture taking of it, at least 6 years ago. Anyway, it was a long time ago. Now, I forget where I heard it, but I heard him praising George Clooney in such a way, Batman and Robin, or the Bruce Wayne, or the Batman. I don't know. I'm talking about George Clooney's portrayal of Batman and or Bruce Wayne. And I forget where I heard it. Somewhere along the line, I listened to a lot of things where people are trying to report the news and report these tweets and all this other stuff that they put out there. But anyway, he says he doesn't even think Batman Begins is good. But they're far superior to the first Batman. See, none of your defenses gets by the fact that despite being the first cinematic dark take on Batman, the movie is awful. And he talks about Stallone's Judge Dredd. But anyway, he says the movie is awful. The Batman from 1989 is awful. Not sure what he says about Batman Returns because it's not in this. Let's just go to this though. He says here in this series of posts, and it says 11 years ago, and this was from 23, apparently. Batman and Robin is better than the original Tim Burton Batman. Not an opinion, a fact. And I'm not even saying it wasn't bad. He said, really better? Go forth, sir, educate me to your point and belief. And then he says, it, I mean it in the sense that the original Batman is an atrocity. Now, I assume, of course, he's talking about 1989's Batman, not the original, character in the comics and stuff like that. All right. And he also said another thing in relation to this that usually shows up with this about Jack Nicholson just being Jack Nicholson from The Shining and clown makeup and stuff like that. Now, he's also talked about, which, again, somehow he has a control of the internet. Because these notorious things that he's been in trouble with in the past have disappeared, and you can't even find them now, apparently. Some sleuth out there may prove me wrong on this, and I'll be glad for them too. But you can't find these things with, the the cache of Google and I looked for it on archive.org, and it basically said something like archive was not allowed to save this, or it was blocked or deleted from the archive, like one of those three. It was toward the blocking part. Somehow it was not allowed to save things from that website. And I think I shortened it and just went to the website itself, which still exists. You look up the website; it has a number of his movies just plastered on there, and and you can check that out for yourself. I forget exactly what it's called, but I think it's jamesgunn.com. But anyway, and you can find the articles and stuff like that where there's a problem and they have links that you'll find goes nowhere now. So anyway, something he I don't know. He hides behind things. He says things frequently, and I think it's pretty well known that he deletes his tweets after some period of time. Regardless of that, I'm going to kind of put that aside from me for the moment. Now, I want to try to express this the best way that I know how. Is for you Batman fans. Do you have any concern about Batman Brave and the Bold or any casting of Batman from James Gunn? Because James Gunn, I found it somewhere that he did praise um, the the tone of the Schumacher films, um, and I think that's in of course that's talking about Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, but specifically Batman and Robin because it's spoken of there. And Batman and Robin was the most ridiculous of them. So I asked a friend what he thought of George Clooney and Batman and Robin, and basically he said it was an abomination. It was. I'm not quoting him, but it was the worst of the movies, and that's fairly well accepted by most people. I know. I also watched a video that was trying to claim, or the title of the video is George Clooney is the best Batman, uh, period, or something like that. And I listened to it, and I don't know if he even believes what he was saying, but he claimed it. He didn't back down on that. Uh, and he claimed that the movie is really good because it's so bad. It's so bad that it's good, and you'll have a great time with it watching it. That is the claim. I doubt that that's an accurate thing. Now I can enjoy for some reasons the Batman and Robin movie. There's there's mocking pleasure to be able to be had for something that's really bad, obviously. But I'm not even talking necessarily about that. But I'm talking about just the nostalgic thing of seeing Batman and Robin on the screen, um, and being able to enjoy that kind of thing, being able to enjoy the silly dad jokes, basically, or the silly jokes that are somewhat comic book accurate for a lot of stuff. Uh, Whether or not it should be that way is really a different question. But I can see some enjoyment in the movie, whereas a big Batman fan, is going to probably dislike the movie more than than I would necessarily, because I'm not as big of a Batman fan. And I'm not enjoying it in the sense that I think that it's really good. It should have been played that way and stuff like that. There's other reasons, and some of it may be set design, or some of it might be just some characters showing up on the screen that otherwise we wouldn't have. It's part of the reason that people enjoy Spider-Man 3 more than they otherwise would, because characters showed up on the screen that um, otherwise wouldn't be, in the films till recently, of course. And I'm not sure if that. Anyway, we're not getting into other things, but the way I understand James Gunn's attitude and thoughts about it, because he's talked about the suit and the costume and how it would possibly look, and how he is, uh, from my memory, uh, had some praise for George Clooney's Batman and the Batman and Robin being better than the Tim Burton original. Yeah, I understand it's not the original. It's a tweet exchange. So he's just saying what he's saying at the moment. So you have to interpret some stuff, and I understand that. But everything that he sounds like he's doing would be leading toward, and maybe this isn't going to happen, but the fear that I have, and the fear maybe some of you could have, and I want to know maybe what you Batman fans think about this. But it sounds like he is going in the direction of a campy, silly, 60s kind of rebirth um, Batman movie. Whether it's Brave and the Bold or something else, I'm not even that familiar with Brave and the Bold. Those of you who are, you can tell me about it. But and not that he would cast George Clooney, but if that is his preferred Batman in some senses, uh, and assuming that I'm not just you know dreaming this up, because when I heard it, I was shocked uh, that he would want somebody like George Clooney, or the portrayal be like George Clooney's portrayal, and so that makes me say he's trying to do Batman and Robin again, a sort of thing in that direction. And listen, okay, if that's what he does, how would you guys feel about it? If you guys, Batman fans, saw James Gunn going in that direction, um, going and putting in the comic accurate gray and blue suit, right? Uh, and again, think of it in a sense looking like the Superman costume, which I don't know who doesn't agree now. That costume is bad and it, baggy and all kinds of stuff. It's not good. It's just not good. I don't know how we regressed so far from the with that Superman movie. But if he goes that direction and puts on a sort of baggy outfit that looks like cosplay, and that's almost an insult to cosplay. I'm talking about like the cosplay where they're putting on pajamas and that kind of thing. Again, think about it in reference to the Superman costume and the Supergirl costume. And I'm sorry, but the end of Superman with Supergirl showing up and the uh, Supergirl movie, there is a difference in the costume. There's several differences in the costume. So you go check that out for yourself. They're not the same. Uh, and the one in the commercial for the movie and whatever promotions they put out may look a little better. It's still overall, it doesn't look that great. Uh, and I'll leave it at that, and you can check it out, and we'll talk about that another video perhaps. But thinking about that kind of suit and that kind of design eh, for Superman and the Justice uh, gang, okay. If you look at that and you say that's the style, that's what it's going to look like, something to that effect, are you going to be happy with it? Maybe in perhaps the gray, and who knows, the black bat or the yellow and black bat symbol. And I've got no problem with any of them if it's done right. But I don't see this being done right, because I see it going in the direction of baggy and everything else. You say, well, it hasn't been even really cast and everything else. They haven't made those announcements. That's not even the concern. The concern is what you hear being said in interviews and things like that. This portrayal and this story to be told sounds like a goofy, non-serious, take on Batman from a man, and he's likely going to be heading up this movie after, supposedly anyway. If there's a whole bunch of ifs, so I'm not getting into all the ifs. Um, but if he's heading it up and he's doing this and he's true to the words, some that I've heard him say and some that I know I have seen reported on. But in this direction, I'm just giving you kind of a vague idea of what he might do. A Batman and Robin kind of style and acting um, of characters, if you will. What would you think about that? Do you think that you're going to be uh, very happy with that? And I'm telling you, goofball nonsense happening, things being warped and changed. You're going to see his history just wiped out. There was some other reporting about how it was not just an atrocity, it's more than an atrocity, but that the origin was betrayed and stuff like that. There's other things out there, okay, and I'm not debating which way it was. You know, my understanding of the Batman history in the comics was that people didn't know who Joker was, and they didn't know who killed Batman's parents in the original comics. I've read a lot of the early ones. I don't I don't see that. It was just somebody that did that. Uh Now somebody may correct me where I'm wrong. Again, I'm not the biggest Batman fan, but I don't remember any of that being told in early comics. Later on, yes, they say this person did it and so forth. Of course, Batman Begins has the character stated, and I assume that comes from a run of comics. I'm not arguing against that, and I'm not saying it should have been the Joker. It worked for us then. I never heard anybody say anything contrary to it, meaning that somebody else was uh, the person that killed Batman's parents. Okay, so that all is an argument for a different day too, and a debate for a different day. But again, if 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 he holds true to what he's been saying about Batman, I can't see him doing anything but destroying it, and holding true to everything else he's done in every other uh, movie, in my opinion. Okay, and all the other films so far, in all these in the DC movies that he's been heading up, and being and the and the projects he's taken on. To me, he's brought down all the characters. Just they're. It's not that the characters themselves are ruined, but for this portrayal, they're all ruined. I mean, there's nothing that I can look at in these movies that he's put out so far and say, yes, that's good. That's a good portrayal of this character and stuff like that. I can't see it, you know. And you can tell me what you think about things in the comments, but I believe I talked about this in another video. I think he changed Harley Quinn for the worse, and you should go check those things out and look at the differences between them. Him killing off all the characters of the Suicide Squad, to me, makes no sense. Shouldn't have happened. He should have, uh, just used what he had, and then he introduced a whole bunch of um, characters and just killed them off. Just made a mockery and a joke out of so many different things. And again, that that may be something he wanted to do. Some others may be perfectly fine with it that are really big fans of Suicide Squad. I'm not again, uh, but I somewhat enjoyed the David Ayer movie, want to see David Ayer's, full cut, director's cut. Uh, Looking forward to that being released whenever they get the little bit done that needs to be done. My goodness, come on. And stop wasting time. But try not to take too long on it. But just think about that kind of concept and idea. The 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 goofy portrayals, the bad jokes, the jokes in the in the moments that are it's just bad ideas and bad jokes, bad language, and so forth. Just it goes on and on. Eh, if he did that with the Batman movie, what would y'all think? I'm serious. If he basically remade Batman and Robin, all right, and put Batman into the gray and blue suit, and increased the number of jokes, what would y'all think about that? Now, see, I know that a lot of you Batman fans are now saying that would be the worst possible thing, something like that. So I'm saying something like that. I'm telling you, that's what he's headed toward. But I'm going to turn this on you because a lot of you Batman fans may have enjoyed the Superman movie somehow, but that's how real Superman fans actually think about the Superman movie. Because we see what James Gunn did in tearing down the character. And as much as some people deny it, and there's all kinds of gaslighting online about it, the Superman movie was made a joke, foolishness, and stupid. The only thing that I think saved it was David Cornsweet actually wanting to portray the character as best he could and trying to be a professional and get the performance that James Gunn wanted. Okay, and I think I could see that in what he did, and so I have respect for David Cornsweet, but I don't have any confidence in James Gunn. I don't have any confidence that he's going to do Batman right, or that he's going to do right by Batman. Okay, I don't have any confidence in that, and I think that if you could see that I'd hate for it to happen. It's delayed enough to where it still could be canceled, shut down. No doing for that Batman. And what else might happen is again another video. But I'm telling you, if you look at it from that perspective, and you go and watch Superman again, and you say, well, I should probably learn more about the history. Uh, and again, don't just listen to theories from people that watch it and say, well, no, it's going to change and it's going to do this or that. No, if you listen to James Gunn, he tells you this, that, and the other thing. The movie was full of things that just make Superman look bad, terrible, dreadfully terrible. And it's in that same vein of a Batman and Robin. It's, you see, Superman for the Quest for Peace was a passion project. The story behind it, there's something to it that makes it acceptable. But the effects were dreadful. Some of the performances are just absolutely bonkers ridiculous. There's just so much garbage in that movie that it makes it very hard to watch. Okay, and that is along the lines, but not probably as bad as Batman fans trying to watch Batman and Robin. Other than the some people that say it's so bad it's funny and it's good, and like I said, I enjoy being able to see like Mr. Freeze on screen, Poison Ivy, and stuff like that. Even though I don't particularly love the things that are on screen, I'm just like, oh, okay, this is interesting. This is live action, this and so forth. And Batgirl shows up, and all. These things just appeared, and at the time, of course, Alicia Silverstone was super popular with everybody. So um, I'm not sure how close that was to Clueless. I know Batman and Robin was '97. I don't know when Clueless came out, but yeah, everybody loved Alicia Silverstone at the time. So her showing up as Batman is just like, oh, it's exciting. Batgirl, I mean. But yeah, again, I understand why Batman fans hate that movie. I understand why they dislike the campy style, even though they can enjoy the '60s campy TV show and stuff like that. They can like and dislike at the same time, the same thing, for reasons. Okay, but we're looking at this, and we have had Superman, Superman 2. I mean, there's jokiness involved with it. There's silliness to those things. So even Superman 3, it can be praised for certain reasons. I can look at it as an episode in Superman's life. It's still Superman fighting against um, a, computer age stuff, which is what was going on at the time. So this is just it was culturally appropriate, if you will. And then Superman 4, same kind of thing. There was this thing going on at that time that they were trying to deal with. Specifically, Christopher Reeve wanted to deal with it this way. It was undercut by the Canon Studios. So, nevertheless, and kind of moving on from there, I don't think any of the Superman movies got to be as bad, other than effects, uh, as the Batman movies became. Okay, and Batman and Robin specifically. And I would not want to see that treatment put on Batman ever again. Ever again. Never. All right? That's where what I feel. And I hope that the Batman fans can see why I personally dislike the Superman 2025 movie as much as I do, because of all the stuff that they got wrong. All the stuff they got wrong. And I know people try to still look at it and say, well, these were powers that he had and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, he didn't have these powers you're talking about, nor does the movie actually portray that those are powers, that the suggestion was made, such as the hypno glasses. Never happened in the comics. I'm sorry. Y'all can look it up. Y'all can pull out the one that I know of, Silver Comic Age comic, and the two or three Golden Age comics, maybe a couple more. There's hypnotism. There's not hypno glasses. He doesn't even wear the glasses when he's hypnotizing. So Lois Lane a couple of times, and whoever else it might be. That's not what it's about at all. Come on. It's not hypno glasses. And that stupid statement was made and accepted by so many people, and it's defended by James Gunn fans ad nauseum. Again, without critically analyzing what he's saying, you're just saying, yeah, that's it's a part of the comics. It's not. And you're welcome to try to pull it up and prove me wrong, but it's not. That was a goofy nonsense statement being made. And again, I say, the movie itself does not portray it as if that's a thing. He says the glasses, but he doesn't say I've got hypno glasses. So he just says the glasses, as in this is my disguise. I'm wearing um glasses, and I lost my glasses. Here we go. He's wearing glasses. Oh my goodness, I'm totally different than I ever was before. Look, you can't tell who I am. That's the running joke. That's a part of a history of jokes. about Superman not being recognizable because he was wearing glasses. Not because it was a canonical thing in the comics that he wore hypno glasses and it changed his face. Not in the books. Not in the comic books. And I haven't read all the comic books, but I challenge you to bring it up. And the ones that I've seen bring it up, I look at them and I say, no, he doesn't say any of that. It does not say what y'all are trying to promote. And I can prove that to you by you looking it up and seeing that it doesn't say what you want it to say. So, I mean, that's all with that. But that, like I said, that's just one of many goofy things, and it continues on. Superman robots. That's not in the comics either, by the way. They're robots. They're not called Superman robots in the comics. We're talking about the Superman All Star Superman. It's not in that. No, no. And it's and I know somebody said, well, it's actually from something else. And okay, so All Star Superman took it from the Silver Age, some of the Silver Age comics, which have the robots. Go ahead and show me a video, show me I'm talking about a, one of the animated movies or anything else. Okay, the animated All Star Superman does not call them Superman robots. Okay, so there's something added. It's goofy to say that. Okay, that's just goofy. So, but without going any further and going into all the different things, you can go watch. I've made several videos about it. You might have to watch several of them to see it all. One of them specifically was where there were missed opportunities, and there are more than I even put in there. But just they could have done something that they didn't do. They could have portrayed it a certain way and they didn't do it. They had the opportunity to do something and they didn't do it. And the missed opportunities are the big thing. It could have been told a different way and actually made sense. And it wouldn't have been the goofy thing. I mean, bringing the leader. I don't know, I said I wouldn't go very far, but I'm not going to go very far in this. But bringing this other leader in that's supposed to um, mirror some people in modern days um, for political reasons. Bringing that guy in and making him behave the way he behaved, it was ridiculous. It was absolute nonsense to put him up that way. And like I said, if James Gunn wanted to make a serious movie, he could have changed a few things. With the Hammer of Baravia showing up, well, you got the Hammer of Baravia. That's one thing. It didn't need to be in that costume that he had. The Hammer of Baravia could have shown up in the Ultraman suit, and the Ultraman guy could have just been hanging out with that world leader, because he's the Hammer of Baravia. The fact that the Hammer of Baravia speaks at the very beginning of the movie and then quits talking when he takes that helmet off later on and never says another word until he makes some noises and screams, but he never talks, is really ridiculous. That's nonsense. It's like it was added later and they forgot, oh yeah, he's mute throughout the whole movie. So we can't have him talk at the beginning. But no, he talks at the beginning. He was faking a Baravian accent. But for the Baravians to deny that he's that didn't make a lot of sense. Because that makes you just start to suspect things. You're suspecting what's going on. Well, where did he go at that? Oh, he landed there, which is a bunch of people from Luther's. Um, uh, is it Luther Corp or it's like I forget. But anyway, uh, he lands there. A bunch of people from Lex Luthor's company that are doing something, and he walked into a tent, and the Justice Gang, I'm sorry, the Justice Gang could have investigated that earlier, and Mister Terrific could have figured that out pretty early on. That he was in cahoots with Lex Luthor. Like, there wasn't thought put into some of this. There wasn't real consideration of this thing. But the movie could have been turned around and made something interesting, if not good, some at least interesting. But no, I mean it is what it is. But I hope the Batman fans can kind of see. It, look at Batman and Robin, and then look again at Superman, and I'm telling you, that's what we see. That's what Superman fans really see. What a terrible outfit. What a bunch of nonsense being said by him. Uh, just in the stupid jokes in the wrong places, and just so much junk. What is even the meaning of punk rock? The new punk, or what kindness is this punk rock? What are you talking about? This doesn't even make sense. And it's just because James Gunn likes punk rock. So what? Who cares? Bad choices for songs, bad choices for various, just so much terrible. But I hope you see it. I hope the Batman fans can see it and turn from uh, not ignorance per se, but just this nonchalant attitude of just accepting what had happened. Because like I said, I don't want this to happen to Batman, and I hope with all my heart that when you see what happens with Supergirl, which it's already not what it should be, but when you see what happens with Supergirl, again, I have no confidence in it whatsoever. When you see what happens, say, "Oh." I mean, I challenge you. Go read the comic that this is based on. Borrow it from a library or something. Get an interlibrary loan and find it. But don't go spend hard money on it unless you know that you like the story somehow. So I say read it first a little bit at least. But yeah, go read it and see what it's talking about, uh, and 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 then watch the movie and opened eyes. I'm telling you, eyes wide opened, because if you see where the changes and the divergence from the comic Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, uh, when you see what divergence there is, just in what's been told to us and what's been seen on the screen, when you see that, and you go read Brave and the Bold, I assume it's a really good comic, because again, I haven't read it, but if it's really good, try to see the divergence. And when you see it, I hope that you all rise up in solidarity with those of us who have already seen the betrayal of these characters, and we don't want that to happen anymore. So I'm hoping still, with the merger with Netflix, or if Paramount somehow takes over, that both of them have the people in charge in both places, um, or two, listen to the fans, the actual fans, the fans that are excited and enjoying uh, what DC should be, what it ought to be, and critical of those things which are taken away from uh, DC and what it ought to be. Rise up with us and stand against them. And I hope that James Gunn is ousted from doing these movies, that Man of Tomorrow doesn't get done by him, and I hope that uh, we see a revival of what we need. And my position is getting Henry Cavill back, Ben Affleck. Let let Superman movies be made with him, Henry Cavill, and Batman movies be made with Ben Affleck. And have Zack Snyder come back, finish Justice League parts 2 and 3, and continue on. From there, we'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes. course, Wonder Woman come back, another solo film with her, and get these things uh, corrected. A true course correction. People talk about a course correction that supposedly needed to happen with um, that back then. The funny thing is, the studio hears course correction. They think, oh, we're going to do Marvel films. That's not what they were saying. Course correction would be the studio stop interfering and let the man that was making the movies, and the other directors and producers and all that were making the movies right. Man of Steel was right. Batman vs Superman, the Ultimate Edition was right. Zack Snyder's Justice League is right. Wonder Woman is right. You know, let these, and I'll even give Aquaman was right. Okay, and we'll go from there. I'm not saying that in a negative way about Aquaman. I'm telling you that things were going in the right direction when the filmmakers were making the movie the way it was supposed to be made, and I'll stand for that. I'll stand on that hill and continue to believe that. And right now, we're seeing great excitement, groundswell excitement from fans seeing posts from Zack Snyder and from some of the stars or other people involved with the DCEU. And the wisest thing they'll ever do is the new studio to get somebody in charge that sees it right, that knows what it needs, and brings back the people that need to do it. Uh, and like I said, we'll go from there. All right. And in the meanwhile, we'll enjoy Henry Cavill in the couple of movies that are coming out very soon with him, and um, and the other uh, projects by other people that are coming out. I'm not. I wasn't here to promote any of that, so I'm not going to try to get into that. I'll go ahead and give Henry Cavill the props, uh, and looking forward to what he is about to get released. This is going to be great, and hope that he gets Warhammer up and running, and 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 fans can enjoy that, and a lot of new fans probably get made. All right, so that's enough, Batman fans. Just think about it. Just think about it, and then maybe study a little bit of Superman, and go back and watch that movie and see what you think at that point. All right. Anyway, um, I'd hate for it to be too negative. I'm looking for this in a hopeful fashion. I am very hopeful that this is going to be stopped short from the terrible debacle that it was heading toward, um, and we can count it an aberration. All right, and we'll get some good movies to come out soon. Uh, Studios, stop listening to less than 0.5% of people out there in the world, and really listen to your fans. All right, and that'll be enough for me. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.